My name is Brendan Cook. I'm on the Judicial Committee for Election Oversight. The moderator for tonight's debate is Dr. Robinson. Dr. Robinson is the Vice Chancellor of Diversity Affairs and an interim Vice Provost for Student Affairs. He has also been at the university for 17 years, and he is a professor of history. We have here a lot of accomplishments Dr. Robinson has received and everything, but he wanted me to cut it short. So our moderator for tonight is Dr. Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. I told Brendan to cut it short because it really is not about me. It's about students tonight. It's about the candidates. We want to hear their voices. And, I'm just impressed. So many people have come out. We've got overflow out here. I mean, you are very civically minded and excited about the U of A's process. And we're excited to have you here tonight. Let's get started. Without any further ado, I want to call the vice presidential candidates to the front of the room so that they can sit in these hot seats and begin answering the questions that we have for them. First, I'd like to call Katie Hicks. Candidates are to maintain a positive environment that facilitates open discussion for the benefit of the entire student body. Order will be determined at random separately for opening statements, questioning, closing statements, and closing statements. All candidates will have the opportunity to answer each question. Time limitations will be strictly enforced. Candidates will be notified when 30 seconds remain. And so I think what we'll just go ahead and do and get started with our opening statements, which are the last 2 minutes. Let's start with Katie Hicks with your opening statement. Katie?
First of all, I would like to thank each of you for giving us your Wednesday night to come out here and listen to what we have to say. My team and I are excited to share with you our initiatives, our ideas, and our plans to make this year about one campus, one voice, and one vision. I'm honored to have the opportunity to run as Vice President. I know that I'm qualified for the job. I've served as the ASG Fulbright Caucus Chair and as a homecoming court panelist during my time in ASG Senate. As Caucus Chair, I've acted as liaison between the undergraduate student body and the Fulbright College Dean, as well as a liaison to a multitude of other U of A faculty and administrators. I've worked to fix problems within Fulbright advising, to create a new study abroad scholarship, and to bring forth new ideas to be implemented into the University Perspectives curriculum. I've worked as the Vice President of Student Ambassadors. I've worked with over 100 volunteers on a daily basis. These volunteers come from various backgrounds, represent different races, demographics, orientations, are undergraduate and graduate students, and yet we all work together to make this organization great. It is important that diversity is celebrated, promoted, and encouraged. I promote the U of A directly through campus tours and other recruitment events, and I don't think that many people up here can say that they teach Texans to call the hogs on a weekly basis. My other involvements include the All-University Conduct Board, Honors College Ambassadors, Pi Beta Phi Sorority, U of A Connect Panel, University Perspectives Panel, Volunteer Action Committee, and Global Greeks. I'm qualified for the job of Vice President. I'm organized, I'm hardworking, and I have a vision. The important thing that I know is that I know how to work with other people, and working together is what will make this campus great. This community is my home, and it has a special place in my heart. I would love to give back to the U of A as ASG Vice President. I believe that my team and I have the leadership to put this flagship first. Thank you.
Now we will hear the opening statement of Ms. Courtney Brooks.
All right, hi everyone. I want to thank you all so much for being here to listen to us. I'm super excited to tell you all about our initiatives and what we are working towards here at the U of A. So like he said, my name is Courtney Brooks. I'm a junior here. I'm from Bentonville, Arkansas, and I'm a second generation Razorback. And when I came to the U of A, I knew that I wanted to get involved. And I was nervous because it was a blank slate. And all of my achievements in high school were essentially gone. And I knew that I wanted to become involved, and I wanted to make my time here something that I would remember and something that my friends and all of my peers would remember as well. So when I first got here, I joined Kappa Delta sorority, and I can say that I haven't made a better decision since. I joined the Student Congress, and when leadership was faltering, I reinstated it as an RSO and led a team to victory last year at our Student Congress competition. I've single-handedly organized 2 Model United Nations trips where I brought students to compete, and we won a majority of the awards with a minority of the delegates there. Now, I knew that these organizations have given me so much. They're really the reason that I am who I am today. But I knew that here at the University of Arkansas, I wanted to be able to give back to my peers, and that's what I found through ASG. I am currently in my 2nd term as an ASG senator, and there's nothing that I love more than writing legislation to help you all to have a better time here and to leave a lasting legacy. Something that I have done through ASG is serve as the ASG Senate Academics Committee Chair, where I headed legislation to expand the grade forgiveness policy. I'm so excited to continue working in that position this year to pass legislation that will help all of my peers, and I can't wait to tell you all tonight about our initiatives and why I am the natural choice for the Vice President of the Associated Student Government. Thank you.
I want to start by saying how honored I am to be sitting here with these 3. They're really incredible, and I'm just proud to be able to be sitting with them tonight. I grew up traveling 5 hours from Jonesboro to the Razorback games on the weekend, and it wasn't often that my family would miss a Razorback game to come at a home game. But I will tell you that that's not the reason that I'm running for Vice President of the student body. It's not because I love the town of Fayetteville, and it's not because I love the Razorback football games, although both of those are true. I can promise you that I would not be sitting here right now if I didn't think that I was the most capable person to hold this position. I feel that way because I believe that every student has a different version of their Razorback experience, and my Razorback experience has been one that's taught me who I am, and that's ultimately what I wanted to get out of my experience at the University of Arkansas, and I got that. I found my niche here. I'm running for Vice President of ASG because this place taught me that I'm capable of much. I am an innovator of new ideas. I started 7 new events in 1 year as Make-A-Wish Philanthropy Chair for an organization on campus, and I led over 400 people to raise $27,000 from raising $27,000 the year prior to raising $75,000 under my leadership and delegation. I plan to use those same delegation skills within the committees that I will appoint as Vice President of the student body. Along with that, I worked with Connor, my presidential candidate, to start new events in homecoming like the Color Those Hogs 5K, and I led the largest Dixon Street homecoming parade in history. Among other things, I'm a lover of empowering potential in my peers. I love Google Docs, I love artsy graphics, I love bullet points and meetings and any communication with anyone and everyone. I am qualified, driven, and ready to build on the incredible foundation that Morgan has set before me. And yes, I'm proud of my accomplishments, but most importantly, I'm here to serve the students. And I want to keep innovating, keep creating, keep delegating, and keep accelerating the University of Arkansas to reach their goal of being a top 50 research institution in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Now we will hear from Ms. Emily O'Lantern.
First off, I would like to say how honored I am to be here tonight. This is truly a dream come true, and to be surrounded by such wise, talented, humble, and qualified women. I hold each of these candidates in the highest esteem, and I am so excited to share the stage with them tonight as we discuss topics we all care deeply about. I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, only 2.5 hours away, and I can regretfully tell you that I didn't grow up a Hog fan. and I underestimated all that this beautiful campus has to offer. But when I got here, that changed. From the moment I set foot on campus, I fell in love. I fell in love with my fellow students, I fell in love with the hog calls, I fell in love with the University of Arkansas. And because of that love, I got involved. I made this place my home. When you love something or someone, you serve it, and that's what I have done. My freshman year, I was selected to be a part of the Freshman Leadership Forum. I spent a year learning from some of the best leaders campus had to offer under the Renner administration, and I spent a year falling in love with another aspect of this campus, the Associated Student Government. My sophomore year, I was selected to serve on the executive cabinet under the McFarland administration. I served as the special assistant to the vice president. I spent a year working daily with the vice president. From committee appointments to the chancellor's ball, to the MLK vigil to homecoming court, I know this role and I know what it takes. Not only do I know the inside of ASG, I know what it's like to be on the outside of ASG. This past year, I served as new member educator in my sorority and chose not to hold a role within ASG. That gives me an advantage. I've been in ASG and I know how it works, but I've also been on the outside of ASG and I know the changes that need to occur so we can reach further across this campus. It is because of these reasons I can confidently say that I'm the best to hold this position. I am here because I'm here, because I care. I'm here to put the names of students above my own. I'm here because I can help. I'm here because I know that I'm the best candidate to help us as a student body reach higher in the classroom, on campus, and as a Razorback family. Thank you.
Candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to each question, and then when we're done with the questions, each candidate will have 1 minute for a closing statement. So let's get started. Let's start with Katie. What experience and skills would you bring to the vice president position that would help to increase the effectiveness of ASG events?
I think that planning events is one of the main jobs of the Vice President of ASG, and it's more than just holding events. It's about getting students involved from across campus, and I think what's important to get people involved, you can't just promote an event without asking for people's help. So through being the Vice President of Student Ambassadors, that's exactly what I do. From recruiting for the university, I figure out what the student I'm giving the tour, what they're good at, how they can get involved on campus. When I am an ambassador, I teach them how they can do the same thing for the ambassadors can do for the incoming students. Through my time as caucus chair, that's been the same thing. It's been seeing who's in the caucus, what are you good at, what connections do you have. So when you're vice president, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to be able to say, this is what these people are good at. Go out and recruit people to help in ways that they're blessed to help. And then if they are getting to help organize an event, then they'll want to promote it, and then there will be more diversity in the students that come to the event and support ASG as a whole.
All right, thank you, Katie. Courtney, same question. What experience and skills would you bring to the vice president position that would help to increase the effectiveness of ASG events?
I think I have a lot of experience that would help me to increase the effectiveness of ASG events. Like I stated in my opening statement, I've single-handedly organized those Model United Nations trips to go compete. And those are things that wouldn't exist without my leadership and without my incentive to go out and reach students who are interested in attending those events. And that's something that I can bring to ASG as well. I have experience in reaching out to students, knowing what they are looking for. And I feel that in my experience, I have 8+ years of speech and debate experience that helps me to be a good communicator. And I think that that's something that is important for the vice president to have, is the ability to effectively communicate with students what ASG is trying to accomplish, and in turn be able to give those students what they need as well. I feel that that also relates to student input. The vice president needs to be readily aware of what the students are looking for from ASG events. If we just blindly plan events without knowing what our students are really looking to get out of this university, we're not going to be planning the most effective things to grow ASG and to grow this university. So that's something that I want to bring to the table, is listening to the students, listening to my peers, and bringing them the best ASG events that we can, and the ASG events that they are really looking to have. Thank you.
Thank you. Maggie, would you like for me to read the question again?
Sure.
All right. What experience and skills would you bring to the vice president position that would help to increase the effectiveness of ASG events?
Thank you. I think that I would be able to bring a lot to the position, but the thing that needs the most, that I think needs the most improvement would be our committees. And I've spoken with a lot of people in ASG, including Morgan, just to see how committees could be improved and what we can do to really diversify our committees and make sure that everyone on campus is represented equally. I know that through a lot of the events that we have to plan, we're going to need to have a lot of delegation, and that's something I've done before through my events with Make-A-Wish and through my position that was really high up with homecoming my sophomore year. And so I plan to really just delegate those committees, build those committees, and let that be what runs ASG, because there are 4 people on exec and they can't do everything. And so if you really use those cabinet members and the Senate members and the committee members, then you're really going to grow the organization to be the best that it can be.
Thank you. Emily, what experience and skills would you bring to the vice president position that would help to increase the effectiveness of ASG events?
Thank you. Well, starting out with experience, I spent a year working with the VP. I know how she plans the events. I have seen the things that have been done well in ASG, and I've seen the areas that need to grow so that our events can reach further across campus. One thing with ASG events is that they're quite frequently always attended by ASG members, and ASG doesn't exist for itself. We exist for the other students. We exist for the entire campus. So I would be so excited to come into this role and start changing things so that we can reach outside of ourselves and we can reach new people that have never been reached before. I've planned events within ASG, like I said. I've planned events for my sorority. I've planned Mom's Dad's Day. Over 600 people attended these events. I planned Big Day. I've worked with big budgets. I know what works and what doesn't work. So I can bring in that past experience along with my skills. I'm organized. I like to create new things. I'm a communication major. I know how to work with people. And one of the things that my administration really hopes to do is to pioneer Pride Week, reaching out to all different groups on campus within the first 2 months of school. So we can build that relationship and take that relationship and then say, you know what, like, we hear you, you're important to us, and how can we work with you? And so just building those relationships early on in the school year and then gaining that support and having that as we move through the year with other ASG events.
All right, thank you. We'll begin this question with Courtney. Courtney, one of the main jobs for the ASG Vice President is to plan events. How will you make ASG events more appealing, inclusive, and representative of the entire student body?
Something that I think that I could do to make these events more appealing to the student body is first to just diversify the events that we have. I have been in ASG for 2 years now, and I see a lot of the same events happening. And something that I would like to bring to ASG is a wider variety of events that are going to reach new students. The students that aren't attending these events, it's because these aren't events that are always geared towards those students. So something that I want to bring is definitely diversifying our events. The other thing that I think I can do to make our events more effective and to reach more people is to reach out to other organizations on campus. I want to be able to communicate with these organizations and really speak to them about what their members are looking for from ASG. And something that I've learned from working tables at the union for ASG is it's always one of the most disappointing things when people come to talk to me and I tell them about ASG and they say, well, I don't even know what that is, or I don't really know what ASG can do. And so I feel like that's where we really need to start before we can start promoting these events, is really let students know that ASG is there for them. We're not just here to have a great time, though we always do, or to just pass legislation because we love it and that's our passion. We're doing it for the students. And so we really need to help these students understand what ASG can offer them and to listen to their voices and provide the best events and administration that we can to them as possible.
Thank you, Courtney. Maggie? One of the main jobs for the ASG Vice President is to plan events. How will you make ASG events more appealing, inclusive, and representative of the entire student body?
I have experience furthering events that are already in place, making them bigger and better, and leaving them better than I found them. And I know that it takes little things and little details to make events bigger and better. I think you have to do the small things like effective social media, appealing graphics, sending representatives out to RSOs. There are over 600 RSOs on this campus, and there is no way to have someone from every RSO represented in ASG. And so when you send out these committee members and these people that are in charge of the events to share, to make them appealing, to make them more personal, that's how you're going to get people more included. I think also another big part is to just like get people pumped about events. You have to present things like they are incredible, and you put so much hard work into planning all of these events that really do matter, and they really do affect the university. And so we have to show the students why they're effective, why they matter, and get them really excited for the events that we have within ASG.
Thank you, Maggie. Emily, one of the main jobs for the ASG Vice President is to plan events. How will you make ASG events more appealing, inclusive, and representative of the entire student body?
Well, to make an event appealing to the student body, we have to know the student body. So before we even go about figuring that out, we need to hit the streets. We need to go to these RSOs. We need to ask them what they need. We need to ask them what support they need. We need to ask them what would be appealing to them. Because ASG exists to assist people. We exist to come alongside the other students and say, how can we help you? What can we do for you? So before we even go about changing our events, we need to go to the people and we need to be with them and say, how can we help you? What can we do for you? And then from there, we can change things. We can change how we advertise. I think ASG, we can work on becoming more approachable. I think sometimes people think that we're a bunch of people that wear blazers and suits and ties and things like that, but we're students here for students. So we need to make sure that is known. We need to make sure any event we throw, it has the students in mind. It's not about what ASG thinks is good, because there's no way that this small group of people in ASG can represent the student body of 26,000 people. So we need to be out there. We need to be on the streets. We need to be asking what they need before we can decide what needs to change.
Thank you, Emily. And Katie, one of the main jobs for the ASG Vice President is to plan events. How will you make ASG events more appealing, inclusive, and representative of the entire student body?
I think the best way to address this question is to talk about some of the initiatives that my team has created, because I feel that they'll do a good job in this area. From the beginning, we want to reach out to freshmen. When you get here as a freshman, you don't know what to join, you don't know what anything is about. Dr. DeBrezzo, who's over University Perspectives, I've met with her multiple times about creating a program of mentors, junior and senior students, to talk to freshmen when they come in orientation and then in University Perspectives. So they could tell them about the events, they could tell them how we need their help to get involved with it. From then, we also want to start the Healthy Hog Initiative, so there would be a lot of events throughout the year, and I think that it's something that everyone could get involved in because it affects everyone. For example, we would like to have Fitbit contests. Everyone has a Fitbit, everyone could get involved, and when there's prizes involved, people want to get involved, they're interested. There's going to be a flu shot drive. They already do it now, but it's only a week long, so that'll involve nursing students, and that'll involve everyone else that needs a flu shot in the winter. We also want to have Mental Health Awareness Week to partner with Sexual Assault Week, and both of these subjects are very sensitive. Depression runs in my family. I've seen it firsthand, and I know that a week does not address the problems of either of those issues, but it is a week. Both of those weeks could celebrate the progress that we make throughout the year. We want to bring survivors in that are survivors of sexual assault so they can really tell you what it's like. The whole culture needs to change around it, and for that, laws need to change, but it can start as a culture change on our campus. We want to have campus career talks that come in and bring corporate leaders to teach you what they're looking for in the corporate world, so we're better in interviews, we're better in applying for jobs. We also want to change the Chancellor's Ball to a dance marathon so it raises money for philanthropies and the Full Circle Food Pantry on campus, so that way everyone benefits from it, but they also can get involved in planning it. I think that our team, a lot of our initiatives are inclusive and would make people more excited about the events. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Question number 3. This past year, the Sexual Assault Awareness Day began as a campus event that became a statewide day of recognition. How do you plan on continuing the legacy of events such as Sexual Assault Awareness Day, and what would you change about those events? And we'll start with Maggie this time.
Like I said earlier, we have an incredible foundation set before us, and I would like to see kind of a new aspect added to Sexual Assault Awareness Day, naming it Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Day. What that entails is starting the conversation about what consent is. Not that sexual assault is ever excusable, but people don't know what consent is. And so I think conversations about how to be an active bystander and things like that are going to kind of expand the event that we already have. And if we can expand that event and other events to just build on the foundation that we've already started, then we're going to see a lot of success and a lot more lives changed through that.
Thank you, Maggie. Emily, this past year, the Sexual Assault Awareness Day began as a campus event that became a statewide day of recognition. How do you plan on continuing the legacy of events such as Sexual Assault Awareness Day, and what would you change about those events?
Thank you. This is such an important topic, something that needs to be talked about, and that's one way that we're going to start to change this. We're going to talk about it more. The previous administration did a great job. They had a teal talk focusing about it, about sexual assault, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to continue that. We also want to team up with Greek Life. They also had their own version of the Sexual Assault Awareness Day, and we need to combine these forces to really tackle this issue head on. And one of the main issues that so many people don't know what sexual assault is. They don't know the definition of it. They don't know what is and what isn't. So we need to talk about it. We need to remove the stigma. This isn't something that is awkward and embarrassing to talk about. It's something that needs to be discussed so we can fight it. So just teaming up with Greek Life, making this something that is not weird, but important to fight this in so we can have more survivors than ever on this campus that are willing to talk about it too.
Thank you, Katie. This past year, the Sexual Assault Awareness Day began as a campus event that became a statewide day of recognition. How do you plan on continuing the legacy of events such as Sexual Assault Awareness Day, and what would you change about those events?
Well, first of all, I want to agree with Maggie and Emily. The previous administration did a wonderful job, and that's something that can be built upon. Like I said before, I think really just the climate around it needs to change, but that's a process that will take many years, but we can start it on this campus. We want to bring in survivors. We want people, boys and girls, to be able to hear from a survivor so that you can better understand kind of what they go through. So as someone that hasn't experienced it, you can kind of be on the same playing field as them. You can understand a little bit better. We also have met with the University Perspectives, Dr. DeBrezzo, and the police. We'd like to make a module within University Perspectives that talks about sexual assault, and it also talks about the role of police and kind of how you can go about reporting it, who you can talk to, outreach. There's a lot of resources at Pat Walker Health Center that freshmen don't know about, and then upperclassmen don't even know about. So if we told you about it in University Perspectives, you'd be able to utilize those. I just think that we need to promote warmth and understanding so that people feel safe to report it and talk about it. And that'll just start with us talking about it more as an organization. So, thank you.
Thank you. Courtney, this past year, the Sexual Assault Awareness Day began as a campus event that became a statewide day of recognition. How do you plan on continuing the legacy of events such as Sexual Assault Awareness Day, and what would you change about those events?
So being in Senate this year, I was around when the whole idea of Sexual Assault Awareness Day came up. And when Mira and Morgan were talking about their plans for this day and how they were going to make it a campus-wide event, the first thing that crossed my mind was, I can't believe that this is not already a thing. And this event has grown so much this year. The Red Talk that Taylor Farr put on was amazing. It was one of the best conversations I think that our campus has ever been able to have about this topic. And so I want to continue the legacy first off, to continue this event in future years, and to grow it and make it even better, because it's a conversation that needs to continue. This issue has not been solved just by one Red Talk or one event. It's a continuing conversation. And in changing it, if I'm elected to vice president, what I want to do is I want to, first off, help ASG promote campus resources that are already in place to help students who are dealing with issues like sexual assault and to help them prevent it in the future. We have so many counseling services, legal services that are available to students, but students don't use them because they are afraid to use them, because they feel that there will be backlash, or because they aren't aware of how to use these services. So that's something that I want to promote through ASG and help these people on campus to promote that. Another thing that I want to do is encourage more people to join the conversation. I think a lot of times when you're talking about really politicized issues, there's always one group that's promoting it. I know we have the campus group, That's So 6%, that goes around and talks about this issue, but we need more people joining the conversation. And that's why I want to go out to RSOs. I want to help them promote it within their own organization, even if it's not related to this issue, to help them to start that conversation. It's not just dependent on one group to talk about this. We need to all be involved in order to make this a lasting legacy on our campus.
Thank you. Now we're down to our last question for the vice presidential debate. We'll begin this last question with Emily, and then we'll move into our closing statements. Question number 4. Emily, what events do you plan on sponsoring that will appeal to a more diverse group of the campus community?
Thank you. I'm so excited to answer this question. My ticket and I are so passionate about this issue because we are 26,000 students and not one of us is the same. We all come from different backgrounds, different genders, different races, different religions, different socioeconomic backgrounds. We have so many different things that make us different, and those are things to be celebrated. So my administration and I want to pioneer a Pride Week, which each day we highlight different groups, we host different events around campus, we invite other people, we promote it, we team up with other RSOs, so every day we can celebrate a different diverse group on this campus. And then to close up that week, we want to end that week with the Chancellor's Ball or a similar event that celebrates the one thing that we have in common, and that is the fact that we are Razorback students. We are all different. And at the end of the day, we all have a voice. We all have this desire within us to be known. And that's what my administration and I want to do. We want to know these students. We want to know what makes them different. We want to go to them and say, tell me about you. Tell me why you believe this. Tell me why you think that. Tell me what makes you different, because we all have something about us. And I am so passionate about this because people matter, stories matter, and I know that our Pride Week will just demonstrate that to the student body, that everyone on this campus matters, and everyone deserves a week celebrating who we are, and to end that with a big celebration as a Razorback family, I can't think of anything better.
Thank you, Emily. Katie, what events do you plan on sponsoring that will appeal to a more diverse group of the campus community?
Well, first of all, what I talked about earlier, some of the university perspectives and orientation programs, that from the get-go will get a more diverse population into ASG. If there's more diversity in ASG, then we can have more diverse events. We can have more diverse concerns that are brought up, more diverse issues to be addressed. We can fix more problems across campus because we'll know about them. We'll have more people from different backgrounds, different orientations, different demographics, so we can see what the student body is really concerned about. One of the things that I'm most excited about, most proud about, is the Hogs Abroad undergraduate scholarship that I've been working on. I've worked with the other caucus chairs, and I went abroad this last summer to Barcelona. I lived with a 73-year-old Spanish woman, so I learned firsthand what a different culture is like. I think that it's important for students to get to go abroad. There's diversity on this campus, and then there's diversity beyond also. But unfortunately, studying abroad is expensive, and I knew that going in, and so I applied for scholarships for it. But through the scholarship application process, I realized that there's not enough scholarships for everyone to get to go abroad. I think that it provides education beyond the campus, and so we've worked to create a student-funded scholarship program. We've been meeting with deans, we've been meeting with administrators. We've been working on it for about a year now, and it would change the Study Abroad Scholarship Office fund of $35,000 a year to $126,000 a year. It would send about 90 more students abroad every year, and I think that if you are able to go abroad, you can appreciate diversity in a way that you can't solely on this campus, and if you're able to go abroad, you can come back, and it's sort of an education that will teach you to appreciate more cultures than just your own. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Courtney, what events do you plan on sponsoring that will appeal to a more diverse group of the campus community?
Well, the first place that I feel like we need to start to promote diversity is within ourselves, within ASG. This has actually been a hot topic for us in Senate over the past couple of weeks. It's going to be continuing a conversation that we are going to be having. But right now, ASG is not necessarily a diverse group. And that's not necessarily the worst thing, but it does prohibit us from making strides to encompass everyone on this campus, and to be sure that our events and the things that we're doing through ASG are benefiting every student, and not just the students that are going out and getting involved in ASG from the get-go. So I want to encourage more students to get involved with ASG. I want students to be able to run for office if they feel like they want to. But not everyone is willing to do that or wants to do that. So I want to encourage student involvement in other ways. I want to reach out to RSOs and let them know how that they can get involved in ASG without having to run for office. Something else that I want to do to promote diversity is I want to work with international organizations on campus to help them promote their events. Right now, there are plenty of international groups that have events that they want students to come to who aren't members of their groups, but students don't even know that they're invited to these events. And something that I've learned as a Middle Eastern Studies major and learning Arabic here is that we are all a lot more similar than we are different. And that's something that I think we need to celebrate on this campus as well when it comes to the topic of diversity, is that we are all students and we're all here for one thing. We're all here to get a degree, to better ourselves, to learn more about the world. And so that's something that I want to have events for as well. Part of what my administration's platform is helping to benefit you all as students, to create an online degree tracking program so that you can better help yourself plan your 4 years. We also want to have pre-preparatory courses for students taking the MCAT, the LSAT, all of these other exams that you should be prepared for. I think as a whole, my administration would be willing and ready to help promote diversity, but to also help promote similarities between us as students here at the University of Arkansas.
Thank you, Courtney. Maggie, what events do you plan on sponsoring that will appeal to a more diverse group of the campus community?
I think I speak for my administration when we say that we don't think we need to go start all of these new events for ASG. We already have some incredible events that mean incredible things to our campus, and adding more events is not the solution. We need to diversify these events that we already have by going to RSOs and making them more appealing through the things I mentioned earlier, like social media and graphics and all of the little things that college students are so appealed to nowadays. And we've noticed that we already have things on campus like a dance marathon and a Make a Difference Day and all of these things that really need to be progressed, but no one really knows about them. So if we can take those events and create awareness for them, get them out there, which is our responsibility to make ASG relevant to campus, then we can create awareness for these events and really get students involved in more ways than they could ever have hoped to.
Thank you. All right, we are now down to the closing statements, and we will begin with Katie. Katie, you have 1 minute.
Everyone on the stage is a wonderful candidate. We're friends. We have many of the same friends. We're classmates. We've worked within ASG together and outside of ASG together, and we all respect one another. This week has been exciting, it's been surprising, and it's been very rewarding. I'm excited to see that 16 different students wish to lead this organization in the first place. I would not be running if I did not know that I have something special to offer. I'm more than qualified to lead this organization, to create meaningful legislation, and work with all facets of the university to do so, to bring new ideas to the Vice President's office, and to represent this university well. I think that my tremendous love for this campus, its students, and the ASG organization will be reflected in the work that I will do if I'm elected. Please support me and my team, Flemister, Hicks, Knight, and Spradlin. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Katie.
I'm extremely excited that I have the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. All of these ladies are so incredible. They're smart and beautiful in every sense of the word. But I think when it comes down to experience and the ability to get the job done, I think that there is no debate that I am the natural choice for this position. I've told you a lot about my experience and my plans if I'm elected as vice president. I have the most ASG experience of any of the candidates here, and I believe that this is what suits me to be in this position. I know that my administration, having the experience that we do, would be able to hit the ground running as soon as we get elected and be able to make this campus better for you all. And I want to leave you with my favorite quote. I know it's cheesy, but it's from Aristotle, and he says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And I hope I've shown you tonight that I've made it a habit to prove excellency if I'm elected as ASG Vice President. Thank you.
My team and I have a goal of making this university feel like home for everyone, and we have all conclusively decided that we all feel like this place is home, and not everyone feels that way. And that's our goal through our administration over the next year. We plan to do that through a lot of things that may seem little, all of the initiatives that we have, like creating commuter parking more central to campus, providing free legal consultation, more study space in Mullins, reinventing the homecoming core process, and like 6 other things that we really have worked hard to plan for over the next year. But at the end of the day, those things are just going to create easiness and accessibility of an atmosphere for students on campus. And those small things will equal really a homey atmosphere for all of our students. Connor and I have spent 3 years working together. We started on homecoming and we met freshman year working on events on campus. And I think I speak for all students when I say that I think the president and vice president candidate need to have experience working together in other arenas on campus before they can tackle a job of this caliber. And I know that Connor and I will be able to do that together. My ticket is the best team for these positions because of our experiences in covering for each other's strengths and weaknesses, because we do have experience working together. Personally, I know that I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't think that my experience spearheading events on campus didn't make me the most qualified person for this job. And I spent my first 3 years working out there on campus so that I could come in here to ASG and apply the strengths and weaknesses of other RSOs to this one to make it the most relevant and accessible RSO on campus. And I want to make it represent every piece of the student body, and I want to make it feel like home for students. So Connor, Shelby, Jason, and I are ready to make the feeling of home a reality, and we really thank you for coming out tonight. Thanks.
There's been a lot of vision shared tonight on this stage, and that is a good thing. Without vision, people perish. We need vision to push forward, to reach higher, and to make a difference. It is safe to say that all of these candidates have vision, but I have the experience. I represent a ticket with the experience. I spent a year working directly with the VP. Not only do I know this role, but I've seen the long hours, the dedication, and the student's first mindset that it requires. I have the passion and the work ethic to meet those needs. I have the experience that best qualifies me to be your vice president and make our vision come to life. This election is not a popularity contest. It's not about my resume. It's not about which Greek organization you're in. It is about your voice. It is about your needs. It is about which candidate can best serve this university. I'm that candidate. I'm qualified. I'm ready to fight student debt. I'm ready to celebrate all students. I'm ready to emphasize the student voice. I'm ready to push up my sleeves and work for you. With your vote, our campus will be able to reach higher than ever before in the classroom, on campus, and as a Razorback family. Thank you.
And your interest and passion in this leadership position. We're going to take a 10-minute break and then come back for our presidential debate.
presidential debate. And once again, we have Dr. Robinson.
Good evening. We're ready to start our presidential debate, and I will call names of the presidential candidates. Before I do, I just want to go over the rules for the debate. The debate will last approximately 30 minutes, with possible extension given to the number of candidates. Candidates are to maintain a positive environment that facilitates open discussion for the benefit of the entire student body. Order will be determined at random separately for opening statements, questioning, and closing statements. All candidates will have the opportunity to answer each question. Time limitations will be strictly enforced. Candidates will be notified when 30 seconds remain. The opening statements will be 2 minutes, candidate responses 2 minutes, and the closing statements will be 1 minute. In the opening statements, we will ask the candidates to talk about their current position in ASG and to address the accomplishments they've had in their current positions. Let's now introduce the presidential candidates. First, Jace Motley.
Thanks for coming out. I just want to start tonight by saying that my name is Jace Motley. I'm running for president. I'm a junior political science major in the J. William Fulbright College of Arts and Sciences. I was born and raised in Conway, Arkansas, so I'm a proud Memphis cat as well. But one of the things that I want to let you guys know is that ASG was the first organization that I joined on campus. Before Greek life, before any clubs, before I even met people in my dorms, I was selected to be one of 40 students that was on the freshman leadership forum. I absolutely fell in love with ASG during my time on the freshman leadership forum, and that following spring semester I decided to run for Senate vacancy. There were 20 people running for 3 open seats, but I wanted it so badly. I was so passionate about it, and I worked my tail off, and I'm proud to say I did win one of those seats. The following semester I was re-elected in the general election for my second term as a senator, in which I was able to serve as Campus Life Chairman, the chairman of the Campus Life Committee in the Senate, and the legislative clerk. During my time as the Campus Life Committee Chairman, we were able to accomplish 3 primary things that I'm very proud about. First, we extended dining hall hours in the Bell Engineering Einstein Brothers, and secondly, we extended the dining hall hours in the Founders Hall of Restaurants. Second, we extended campus lighting. We passed a resolution to extend campus lighting, and it was listened to by the administration. And third, we streamlined advising in the Fulbright Caucus. Last year, I was also given the opportunity to once again be elected by my peers to serve as chairman of the ASG Senate this year. I'm the only person running for president right now that currently serves on the ASG Executive Committee. This is incredibly important because I know exactly what it takes to do this job. Every week, I have one-on-ones with our ASG advisor. Every week, I sit in our executive meetings. Every week, I meet with different administrators across the campus. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into, and I hope that tonight you'll see that I'm the natural choice to be ASG president. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Connor Phlox. I'm from an hour south of here, Fort Smith, Arkansas, Greenwood, Arkansas, whatever you want to call it. But I've grown up my whole life being a huge Razorback fan of everything Razorback. And coming to school here was obviously a dream come true. But once I got here, I learned something super cool. And that's that I could not only be a student, but I could play a role in what made little kids like myself one day want to come here and call the Hawks. So I did so, and I've been very thankful for the opportunities God's blessed me with to get involved all over campus. Some of those aspects within ASG have been, I guess, starting off freshman year with all these guys. I remember we all met each other right here at ASG and through the Fresh Hogs program. Davis was a senator, things like that. The second year, going through as the executive assistant to the student body president, Daniel McFarland. It was a wonderful opportunity, and I learned so much through it about myself being a leader, and about what it takes to be a student body president on this campus. While I was there, we implemented a new student poll, changed the questions, wanted to learn more about what the students really wanted to see. We always talked about speaking on behalf of the students for so many things. But through that, we learned, for example, that 90.29% of students who answered said they didn't want to pay an increased student fee to pay for free Scantrons from ASG. So instead, we allocated money we already had, and I bought, purchased, designed, found a company for 2 new Scantron machines here on campus. Right now, I'm the director of Greek Affairs, got to work with the current exec team to implement their new Sexual Assault Awareness Day with Greek life and things like that. Learned some problems too that we can talk about later. Right now, I served as the president of the Razorback Booster Club, vice president of the Student Alumni Board last year, and got to be homecoming coach there with my girl Maggie Benton a couple of years back. Learned a lot from that. But at the end of the day, I've learned that all these things I'm saying we'll all be able to say here tonight. But the reason I'm running for president is because I know that not every student on campus here feels at home. I'm excited to get into office, implement new things, and hopefully impact the lives of every student here at the University of Arkansas.
Thank y'all. My name is Davis Trice, and I was born at the old Washington Regional Hospital, which is less than a mile from here. My grandmother worked for a dean in Old Main. She's sitting right back there. Everyone wave at my nana, please. And I haven't missed a home football game since I was 12, and if you look at my Instagram profile, it's like I'm advertising for the admissions department. But honestly, this place is just as much a part of me as I am of it, and that's why I'm so excited to serve as student body president. I arrived on campus freshman year and immediately got involved with ASG. Within the first 2 weeks, I ran for Senate and was elected. And that year, I got to immediately immerse myself in how ASG works. I passed legislation after we experienced some winter weather to make sure that administration could make safer decisions for students when we had snow. And then the next year I was appointed to Daniel McFarland's executive cabinet. I was his director of special events, and there I got to create a program and event that raised money for students that are experiencing financial adversity. And there I got to help students with the U of A Cares Fund. And then this last year I've served as director of Campus Life in Tanner Bones administration, and I was able to have my hands in a lot of different areas, and I was really able to make Campus Life better for students. And that's why this is such a perfect transition into president, because that's what we're all here to do. We're here to make Campus Life better for students in every area. And so we want to make campus a better place to learn, grow, and connect. And it's not about politics. It's not about Republicans or Democrats. This is about the students. We're all more than qualified to serve you all today. Like Connor said, we've known each other for a long time. We all have great resumes. But what's going to qualify someone the most is their passion for the students and their commitment to service. So I'm excited to share with you all my platform tonight. My love for this campus bleeds through a list of initiatives that my administration will use to make this campus better. So thank you.
As Dr. Robinson said, my name is Alex Flemister, and I'm thankful to be here. I want to thank my mother for being here, my family, our campaign staff for being here, and for all of our supporters. I'm excited to be able to share more about my vision and y'all's voices here as a candidate for president of the Associated Student Government. Within the organization, I've been here for 3 years. First year as a fresh hog, now FLF, Freshman Leadership Forum with these guys. And we did a lot of great things in there with promoting freshman initiatives. As a senator, I was blessed to serve in the Senate and with some great bills that we had with diversity. We funded, when Wal Wang was the director of diversity, we helped bring in funding for international students to attend the Crystal Bridges Museum, where they had an event, and I was so blessed to be a part of that. Some other great initiatives with on the Razorback Action Group that I serve in with Thomas Seelig, who is the chair of that. We are working on bringing a polling station in on campus. With 26,000 students, this place needs to have a polling station. And with plus faculty and staff, that's what we're working on, and those are some initiatives we have. I've also served as president, currently serve as president of the Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity, and I'm blessed to be a part of that organization. They really are the heartbeat of my life, and I'm looking forward to serve outside of that as well. But this debate and this campaign is about the students. It's about the students, and I'm just blessed to be able to meet each and every one that I can and listen to their voices and seek their vision, and that's why I'm putting the flagship first. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's now begin the debate. We'll begin with Jace. As the head representative of the student body, how will you set an example for student involvement in all areas of the university?
So being involved on campus is something that I've taken a huge pride in nuts. I'm very involved on campus. My primary involvement has been with the Associated Student Government, and it's been something that has been very important to me. But I think that promoting these initiatives can be done through a couple different legislative means. So as chairman of the ASG Senate, I know that we can appropriate funds to different RSOs that don't get funding through the OFA process. So freshman year when I was on Senate, one of the things that the ROTC came to us and asked was if the Senate would be able to appropriate funds so that they could have more exercise equipment that would help them compete nationally. Basically, it's a road climbing course that they didn't have already that they would be able to use to compete nationally and do better at. And so the Senate actually appropriated those funds, and they were able to, the next year, be more successful in those exact same competitions. And so I think that getting more RSOs involved is going to be able to find out how that they can get more funding. And there's so many specific rules when it comes to OFA that a lot of times do deny different RSOs. But I think that letting them know that Senate and that the Associated Student Body and that the legislative branch is here to have their back and that we're here to be able to support them financially is extremely important getting them involved.
Thank you, Jace. Connor, as the head representative of the student body, how will you set an example for student involvement in all areas of the university?
Well, I think I already have. I'm very thankful for the opportunity that I've had over the past 3 years to become involved in so many outlets of campus. As I kind of mentioned in my opening statement, I think that's a big part in what's developed me as a man, as a leader, and now as a candidate for student body president. Right now I serve as the president of the Razorback Booster Club, where I get to coordinate, host, just design every aspect of every Arkansas Razorback pep rally. It's been a blast. And this past year we actually had the biggest Arkansas pep rally attendance-wise ever in university history. And then right now, or last year, I served as vice president of the Student Alumni Board. And in that, I was able to meet so many students from so many outlets of campus. The Student Alumni Association, which the board oversees, is the largest RSO on campus. And through my roles in that, I've just learned so much about, meeting with so many different students who are involved all over campus in so many ways. And so, at the end of the day, I'm just thankful for the opportunities I've had that I'll be able to set an example by showing that in so many different ways. Just leading homecoming for the entire university and implementing the first ever Color Those Hogs 5K. So many different things just played into that, and learning about how to set an example for students. But hopefully as I get into office, I'll be able to expect that of so many people within ASG. I think it speaks volumes to a person to be able to come into ASG and be involved elsewhere on campus as well. I think that's something I'll want to expect out of my cabinet whenever me and my executive team are selecting them next year and coming up with the people who we want to represent this entire campus as directors of all different outlets across campus. It's just involvement everywhere. So I think that'd be the best way, is just expecting that.
Thank you, Colin. Davis, as the head representative of the student body, how will you set an example for student involvement in all areas of the university?
Thank you. Connor's right. You wouldn't get to this position if you didn't have your hands in a lot of different areas. We all have incredible resumes. We're all involved in great places. So that's going to come with the presidency. And so that experience is going to help as setting an example to get involved across campus. What people need to know is that ASG is a tool. ASG isn't just a club. ASG is a pillar of governance in the University of Arkansas system. You've got the University Board of Trustees, and you've got a bunch of schools that follow under that. And then under that, you have the University of Arkansas. You've got the chancellor, you've got deans and provosts that make up the organization, but ASG stands as a pillar of governance, and student voice that's the tool to represent the student voice. And so ASG needs to be used not just to promote our organization as Associated Student Government, but to promote all the other ones on campus. We can use this as a tool to help students get involved on campus. We serve the students, and so we need to, outreach is key. We need to be reaching out to students, figuring out, how can they get involved? What clubs do they need to be involved in? How can they get involved in ASG? It's not going to be us putting, applications online. It's going to be us going to organizations and saying the application is online, because ASG will be a more diverse organization when we start with outreach. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Alex, as the head representative of the student body, how will you set an example for student involvement in all areas of the university?
Well, the great Chancellor Gerhardt, our former chancellor here at the university, once always said when Bo Renner was on stage that he's his boss. And the reason he said that was because he was the head of the university to represent students. And the students are the voice of this campus. So by Chancellor Gerhardt saying that, it says a lot to me that we have such a powerful voice. It's just we have to be able to open our mouths and say what we mean. So as president, we need to reach out to RSOs. We need to reach out to individuals on campus. It starts with freshman orientation. We've got to get these kids connected. We've got to get them involved, and they got to know what's going on around campus so they can be better connected to each other and to the university. So that's very, very important.
Thank you, Alex. Second question will begin with Connor. In the past 6 months, we have been witnesses to the events caused by racial tension on the University of Missouri campus. How would you prevent a similar situation from developing on the University of Arkansas campus? And if such a situation were to occur, what would you do to unify the student body?
Well, I think the situation that happened up in Missouri, so close to where we are now, was in kind of a weird way really beneficial for our student body. Actually, you said it best here recently, Dr. Robinson, when you explained that whenever those situations happen, it gave us the opportunity to examine our processes and see what we can do better to impact the lives of students here. It's unfortunate that it took that for us to kind of realize that we need to take a step back and make sure everybody's involved. At the same time, it's a wake-up call that we need to be very proactive, not reactive, to people who feel marginalized on campus. Me personally, I don't know if there's a student who's involved in some organization outside of anything that I'm involved with who feels marginalized in some way, shape, or form. I may not have personally met them, but a lot of people have on campus, and we can always find something, I guess, that we have in common. We can harp on to, develop us as a person. I can't, as ASG president, define what the Razorback experience is. No one in this room can define what the Razorback experience is. But at the same time, we can go out and meet students. And we do have the thing in common that we are all students here at the University of Arkansas, and we can find our differences through that. And I guess just develop upon them, bring them into ASG. And I think a lot of it starts with, like Alex said, as freshmen, bringing in here and teaching them through the university perspective, just about the organizations on campus. And you can get involved. I mean, the position of student body president may sound intimidating at first, but I'm not intimidating, guys. Look at me, I'm scared to death up here on stage, staring at all you guys. But I think that's just a big part of it. It's just kind of opening up the door and letting students know that, listen, we're here, and we're going to be very proactive about meeting those students in the future.
Thank you, Connor. David, in the past 6 months, we have been witnesses to the events caused by racial tension on the University of Missouri campus. How would you prevent a similar situation from developing on the University of Arkansas campus? And if such a situation were to occur, what would you do to unify the student body?
Last week, I went with President Bone and some other people involved in ASG to Washington, D.C. We met with some people and some think tanks and some lobbying groups, but also on Capitol Hill, to learn about campus issues. And we met with groups from other SEC schools and their student governments to learn how to make our campus better. And so one of the things we talked about was sexual assault, and I'll tie it in somehow in a second. But one of the things we talked about was, in order to prevent sexual assault and make sure that everyone is on board with a vision, we got to include people from different organizations. So we need to have the chancellor, we need to have the student leaders, we need to have UAPD, we We need to have other groups all at one table talking about it with one single voice. So what I want to do with this topic, and most people know what the issue is, but we've got to bring everyone together to prevent something like that from happening. We've got to make sure that everyone's voice is heard. So student leaders from every organization, not just ASG, need to sit at the table with the chancellor, need to sit at the table with Dr. Robinson, and figure out how to prevent things like this from happening, and making sure that everyone's voice is heard across campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Davis. Alex, the past 6 months we have been witnesses to the events caused by racial tension on the University of Missouri campus. How would you prevent a similar situation from developing on the University of Arkansas campus? And if such a situation were to occur, what would you do to unify the student body?
Absolutely. I actually had a really interesting meeting. The entire IFC team was meeting with Dean Lori Lander on this particular topic, specifically last week. And she said something that kind of sparked me. We're like, this wouldn't happen here. She goes, well, what if it did? What if it did? Would it be a bad thing? And it's not that it would be a bad thing. It's because if students feel excluded or if they don't feel a part of something, then they're urged to voice their concerns. And that's exactly what the students did at Missouri. And I don't feel that that's the case here at Arkansas because we are one big Razorback family. But if students do feel concerned, they need to have a place to go to where they can express those concerns. And they need to be listened to because it's really, really important that everyone feels included here on this campus. So what I want to go at is that we need to have resources for these folks. And I think the ASG exec team and the entire body could provide that, working with the administration and working with students on campus.
Thank you, Alex. Jace, in the past 6 months, we've been witnesses to the events caused by racial tension on the University of Missouri campus. How would you prevent a similar situation from developing on the University of Arkansas campus? And if such a situation were to occur, what would you do to unify the student body?
Well, I think if you're going to address racial diversity, the first thing you have to do is bring everyone to the table. I think right now there's no secret that there is a monopoly of Greek life that takes over ASG. Fun fact for you guys, and it's very sad to say, but the ASG Senate is 100% white and 94% Greek. Those are surprising statistics for a university that is as diverse as we are, because I know that when I go to class, I don't sit next to 100% white people and I don't sit next to 100% Greek people. So basically last week in Senate, we actually tabled this bill because we got last night's debates. But last week we introduced a piece of legislation called the Legislative Diversity Act of 2016. What this would pretty much do is break up the practice of Senate tickets, where senators can run for Senate by pairing up with other Greek houses. This excludes so many people from taking part in these elections. We can't ask ourselves to be more representative as a student government if we're not bringing these other voices and diverse perspectives to the table. One of the things that I've always thought about is people say, what's the biggest problem facing students here at the University of Arkansas? And that question, the answer to that question is different for every student. It depends on where you're looking from. I know what my biggest problems are, and I think I know what our biggest problems are. But having 100% white Senate and 94% Greek Senate, we cannot address all those problems that we have no idea that they exist. So I think that in order to create more diversity and to incentivize more diversity, we have to bring them to the table in the first place. Thank you.
Jason. Third question. We'll begin with Davis this time. Davis, as you are trying to get other campus organizations to support ASG, how will you reciprocate that support of those organizations?
So Emily mentioned this earlier. We want to bring everyone to the table through our Pride Week. So we're looking to make sure that every organization is represented. And it's not going to be us saying a Pride Week, come to us. It's going to be ASG going to them. Recently, we have been reaching out to a lot of organizations and trying to make sure that everyone's voice is heard on campus. And so one of the groups we reached out to said, thanks for reaching out to us because we don't feel like ASG ever reaches out to minority groups. And that's not what ASG is about. We're not a club. In order to ask for support, he's right, we have to support organizations. And so it's going to require, like I said, outreach. It's going to require the secretary having a staff of people who entire goal is to advance ASG and make sure that everyone else is supported. a graphics team, a photographer, a film person, a group of people whose purpose is to make sure that ASG people know what it does. And so through that, we can get more organizations involved. We can make sure that organizations have what they need. We can listen to more people. Social media is a great tool, and we can continue to use that as part of ASG in a better way. So that's how we can support other organizations on campus.
Thank you, Davis. Alex, as you are trying to get other campus organizations to support ASG, how will you reciprocate that support for those organizations?
Absolutely, that's very important. I think we need to create a cabinet position directly geared towards recruiting and geared directly towards getting students involved. Basically, the entire job for that person who's in charge is to reach out to people, set up meetings, set up times that we can get together and talk about their problems in their RSO, their problems as students, their problems with not being able to feel comfortable approaching those in ASG. It's very important, and that's one of our initiatives that we're looking to do.
Thank you, Alex. Jace, as you are trying to get other campus organizations to support ASG, how will you reciprocate that support for those organizations?
Definitely. So, like I kind of alluded to in my last answer, there are more RSOs on campus. As a matter of fact, about 300 more RSOs on campus than there are Greek life. And once again, I hate to harp on this because I'm a proud member of it, but it's true. If we're going to bring these people to the table, we have to go after these different RSOs and we have to go recruit after them. As of right now, we're not demographically representative. And just no matter which way you spin it, we're not. And it's a huge issue crippling our campus. But basically the way that we would go after them is kind of also what I talked about earlier, is letting them know that there are funds available to them. I don't know about you, but anytime someone wants to offer me money, I'm definitely down to go talk to them. And so knowing that they can apply through the OFA process to get more funds for their events, for number one, that makes their event better. Number two, it makes their event larger, so more students know about that event. And number three, they know that that money came from ASG. Secondly, like I said earlier, you can apply for funds through the OFA, but you can also apply for funds through the ASG Senate. And that's been something I've been a part of for the last 2.5 years, is appropriating funds in the Senate. I know that we have a legislative budget. That's incredibly important to helping these organizations know that we care for them and know that we're there for them and know that we're supporting them financially as well as in spirit and as well as representing them the most demographically we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Jace. Connor, as you're trying to get other campus organizations to support ASG, how will you reciprocate that support for those organizations?
Absolutely. I think a lot of that goes back to what our entire platform is that we're running on, and that is being involved with other organizations on campus. As Maggie explained in her debate, she mentioned how we don't want to come in and create a bunch of new events, because a lot of the events that we talk about creating and a lot of the problems that we see are already happening on campus by one of the other 600 RSOs. And so what we're going to do is walk in and find things like the Hogs for Hope Marathon that's already going on, where we can walk in and say, hey, how can we come meet with you and help make it better? Make a difference today. Hey, how can we come help meet with you, and how can ASG help you out and make that better? So I think one of the big steps is just ASG playing a role and helping them out as well. I mean, that's what we're here for. ASG isn't designed to be the campus. It's here to connect the campus. And so that's what I'm excited for us to do whenever we get into office. Another thing is that we want to create liaison opportunities for our cabinet members. So right now, I'm the director of Greek Affairs, for example. I helped the current exec team put together their Sexual Assault Awareness Day. When I went to go meet with Greek Life about it, Ms. Bruce told me how they had already had something planned. It was very similar, and it was going to go on the week after ours. And they collided, and it was unfortunate for everybody involved, and we just found out too late. But if I had had a specific responsibility within my duties as Director of Greek Affairs to go and speak with her beforehand and figure out and go to the IFC meetings, go to the Panhellenic meetings, and figure out what's going on, a big role will be played. It might put a lot on cabinet members' tables. We can look into associate members, a new branch of ASG which has been created, who can go and they can go see, or they can go speak with those RSOs and they can go figure out what they are or what's going on with it. Obviously, there's 600 RSOs. Obviously, we can't go meet with every single one of them, and I absolutely understand that. But there are RSOs that are very impactful on campus and are doing very important things. I think it's huge for ASG to get involved with it.
Thank you, Tom. We're down to our final question before we go into our closing statements. Question number 4 will begin with Alex. Alex, other universities use a blind cabinet application system where applicants for cabinet positions submit their applications without pictures or other identifying information to increase diversity. Would you be in favor of instituting such a system for your academy?
Yes. Yes, it's important. You don't want to put a face or a friend. You want to put the most qualified person in office to represent you in ASG, to represent you as a leader for this university. It doesn't matter what color of skin you have, where you're from, how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're my friend or if you're not my friend. It matters if you can do the job the right way and the way it's supposed to be done. So yeah, I'm completely okay with going in with a total blind application for a captain position.
Thank you, Alex. Jace?
Definitely, I have to agree with that. I think the idea behind a blind cabinet position is obvious. You don't want to know who's applying so you can be as non-biased as possible. I know that with a lot of campaigns right now, there's a lot of campaign staffers, and I know that a lot of you here are on someone's campaign staff. Unfortunately, a lot of times what comes with that is when you're promised a position on that staff, and so when you're promised a position on the staff to serve in cabinet for the elected president. So when the time comes around to apply for these positions, it excludes a lot of people that may have worked for a different campaign, that may have supported a different candidate, or that maybe weren't even involved in the campaign at all. Another position that I think should also be blind in extending on the cabinet applications is the chief of staff's application. So the big tradition in ASG has always been that your campaign manager de facto becomes your chief of staff. And I'm not saying that any chief of staff has been unqualified, but what I am saying is that it also, like I said, it excludes these other people from applying that would have done just as excellent of a job. And so what I'm really proud about our campaign is that we actually decided not to have a campaign manager because we didn't want to owe that position to anybody. So I think the idea of a blind cabinet application would be exactly what our vision has been this whole time. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree as well. I'd have to say yes, along with the other guys up here with me today. I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think it can bring a lot more just objectivity to the entire organization whenever it comes to our executive team picking who our cabinet's going to be. With that being said, I think the defense to it that a lot of people could come up with is that there's somewhat of an advantage that you have in applying with your name on the piece of paper. And it's a reasonable advantage, and it's that all the organizations you've been involved with that person in the past kind of serve as an audition to be on your cabinet. For example, not an audition, but Maggie Benton and I worked on homecoming together 2 years ago. So I knew whenever I had to decide if I wanted to run for student body president that I was not going to run unless I got Maggie Benton to run with me, because she was qualified and I'd seen what she had done on campus firsthand. But at the same time, I think it goes with the blind application. I think is a great idea, just because you can kind of see your first initial pull, see where they're involved. Obviously, I know who Maggie was if I'd worked with her that closely and seen her involvement. Oh, you did homecoming? I did homecoming. Come in for an interview. I saw what you did. But as far as other people go, yeah, I'm fully in support of that. And what Jay said as well, I think that was a great point with Chief of Staff. I think that's very essential as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think I share the belief of the guys next to me. But we have to do more than that. So a blind application would serve that purpose. It would allow people to come in that weren't necessarily just on your campaign staff. It would allow the people who are most qualified to come into ASG. But the cabinet isn't the only place where we need a more diverse applicant pool. And so one of the problems there is we can't just post to our Twitter account or to the website that cabinet applications are open. We've got to go out. We've got to tell people cabinet applications are open. We've got to show up at RSOs. And that's what that Secretary of Staff would do. We've got to advertise it to everyone. And beyond that, ASG is an interesting place right now. Because the same people that you see in your Greek organization, and the same people that you go to the Walton College Finance Club, the same people that you go to Student Alumni Association with, you're going to see at ASG at night. And we got to fix that. It needs to be more diverse. It needs to be inclusive of all students, representative of the student body, like Jason's been saying. And that's how we can succeed as a student government in actually representing all 27,000 now students.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin our closing statements. We have 1 minute, Jason.
Definitely. So something that a lot of people may not know about me is that actually this summer I lost 59 pounds before I came back to school on purpose. But basically my vision, I have a clear vision to make this campus healthier and safer. And I think that starts with pairing up with our colleges. I would like to create a nutritional and dietary advising program by partnering with the College of Education and Health Professions. Essentially what we would do is we would work with students in those professions to partner up kind of as a peer mentor with someone in the general population at the University of Arkansas that would like to do more about learning how to live healthier lifestyles. Secondly, I want to require that all the calorie counts are displayed in our dining halls. This is incredibly feasible. Most of our vendors at Chartwell's are franchise vendors, and all of their calorie counts are already online, so all it takes is for us to post them. And thirdly, I want to work with the Program Allocations Board to get more funding for newer and upgraded equipment in the hyper. This is something that's incredibly feasible and something that the ASG president is easily able to do. Thank you.
Well, guys, you shouldn't vote for me just because I say that I'm going to get more parking central to campus. You shouldn't vote for me just because I say I'm going to increase study space in Owens Library. And you shouldn't vote for me because I'm going to get you free legal consultation and you get in trouble with the law. And you most certainly shouldn't vote for me just because I say that I'm going to do all these different things across campus. You should vote for me because you've seen my track record in the past and what I've done in organizations with many of you on campus. And the proof of what I have, that I say I'm going to go into a position, I'm going to do something, and I do it. When I applied for homecoming chair for the university, I said I wanted to implement a new event. I implemented the color run. I said I wanted to do philanthropy. It was the largest food drive the campus has ever seen in the history of the University of Arkansas. I love this campus. I love these students, and we are one student body. And ultimately, this place, it should feel like home. But that feeling doesn't exist for all students, and that's exactly why I'm running for student body president. That's exactly why you should vote for me, Maggie Benton, Shelby Cormack, and Jace Ritter.
Yeah, I don't think Jace has had a piece of pizza in like forever. Good for him. A lot of information is getting thrown at you tonight. Your Facebook feeds have blown up this week, and for that I truly apologize. But what y'all need to see is that all of these representatives, all these guys up here are very qualified. But what's going to set us apart is this passion for the school. Because aside from all this debate and rivaling our platforms, it's going to come down to who's most passionate about this school. And that's what this is about. That's what ASG is about. It's about serving the students. It's about nothing else but making sure that every voice is heard and everyone's represented, and we can serve them. And so that's what we're here to do. And that's what my administration will do. And that's what myself, Emily Olander, Scott Sims, and Abby Wallstad will do. We're going to reach hard for the students, and we're excited to have you all on board. Thanks.
Well, I'm humbled to be on stage with these three guys here. We've known each other since freshman year. And I'm humbled to be on this campaign competing against 4 other tickets of great, competent, well-focused people. When you're looking for an ASG president, you need to look for someone who's willing to focus and who's willing to stay on task and stay up all night ready to work for the students. And that's what I'm here to do. My ticket is focused. We are flagship focused, and I'm lucky to have them on my team. Katie Hicks, Collins Knight, Savannah Spradlin. They're going to put the flagship first. Thank you.